Good morning, everyone. I am tripping over my words, and I'm just now starting out. I am live a little earlier than normal today. Usually on Tuesdays, you get me live around noon Central Time, but my daughter has award ceremony today, so I'm getting my work done earlier so I can go and watch her little ceremony. And of course, last night when I told her I was coming, she said, well, are you going to check me out of school after it's over and can we go get lunch? So she wants to make like a little girl's day out of it. And so I'm like, yep, I'll put all my work to the beginning part of the day or off till tomorrow, and I will celebrate with you today. So thank you for being here with me. Hello, Ava. Drop comments and let me know who's watching. I'm live on Facebook and on YouTube. And I'm wondering, have you ever caught yourself thinking, maybe I could actually sell one of my door hangers? Or maybe you're wondering, is this just hobby? Is this just a hobby for fun, or could it turn into something more? If so, you're in the right place. Good morning, Mindy. Hello, Emily. Um, and I want to know, have you ever thought about selling your door hangers? Or maybe somebody has even asked you if they could buy one that you've made. Let me know in the comments. I always tell people that inevitably, if you are painting weekly or monthly with me and you start to hang your creations up on your front door, or maybe you make a post about, hey, look at this fun new hobby that I'm doing, or something like that, people in your life who know you well are going to start to notice. And then the first thing that they're going to ask you is, did you paint that? And if you say yes, then they're going to say, do you think you could paint me one? And of course, they would like to buy from you because they're your friend or your family member. But sometimes we do have friends and family members who are like, can you make me one for free? We're not talking about that. We're talking about selling your painted door hangers. Good morning, Jody. Hello, Delane. Hello, Sarah. She said, absolutely worth every penny. Thank you so much for saying that. Hello, Belinda. Who all's here with me this morning? Drop me a comment. The question was, have you ever thought about selling your door hangers? Or maybe somebody has asked to buy one. Who's here that has experienced this recently? I have had people literally ask to buy the door hanger right off my door. I've sold door hangers at farmers market, at vendor booths like at craft fairs. I have sold door hangers. I used to have an established booth in like a peddler's mall, like trade, like what are those things called? Like a trader's mall, I guess, like where everybody has this. It's kind of like a craft show, but it's established and it's there every day and people can just go shop. I've had something like that. I have taken custom orders for door hangers in the past. No longer doing that. And I did actually have somebody reach out to me just yesterday and say, hey, do you take custom orders? Would you put my family's name on a door hanger? And I'm like, no, I don't do that anymore. I just teach painting now. But I do know a lot of people, I'm sure, who could do that for you. Good morning, Margarita. Hello, Christina and Marcy. Lots of Painters Clubhouse sisters in the comments. And I want to tell you about one of our Painters Clubhouse sisters in particular in just a moment, actually, two of them who have had some success selling door hangers. But if you've had success yourself selling door hangers, drop us in a comment and let us know. Ginger said she's had luck selling at a local vendor mall. That's fantastic. I liked the vendor mall aspect because I could just go and casually hang door hangers up in there and put a price tag on them. And then it was always a nice surprise when one of them sold. And it was a much more passive way of selling rather than having to stay at a booth and babysit a booth during like a craft show. This was just ongoing and it was open every day. And then it was nice too, because if I had custom orders that I had created, I could put, sold or something on it and hang it up in there. And then my customer could come pick it up at the booth instead of having to come out to my house. So that was great. Good morning, Janet. Hello, Ava. Um, she said, I can't make bows and that hurts my door hanger sales. Ava, we do have a few bow tutorials in the Painters Clubhouse that are really simple bows that anyone can do. Not the big, elaborate, lots of loop, $100 worth of ribbon kind of bows. I'm talking about bows made out of scrap pieces of ribbon that are like 6 to 8 inches in size. And if you can tie a knot or use a zip tie, you can make these kind of bows. I promise you can do it. So check out that category. I think it's in the miscellaneous or technique section of the Painters Clubhouse. If you have trouble finding it, just type bows into the search bar and it'll come right up. And so if you're struggling, if bows are the thing you feel like are holding you back, go check that out. But I will say that like you can sell a door hanger without a bow on it. I've done it many, many times. Vicky says, I have my first order for a door hanger this week. Congratulations to Vicky. Yay. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Judy. Anybody else have a win to share with us in the comments? While you're sharing your wins, I want to tell you about Lisa Cato. She's one of our Painters Clubhouse members. She shared recently that she had painted the double-sided Patriotic Lola Bandana Lola door hanger. And she said, I almost didn't sell it because of how it was stapled. She was talking about the staple looking kind of funny or being a little messed up. And it's a perfect example of how we can get hung up on one little flaw in our project. But she thought it didn't look good enough to sell. But she posted about it anyway. And guess what? Somebody bought it anyway for $70. $70. And they didn't even care about that tiny little flaw. All they saw was this gorgeous bandana Lola door hanger with Patriotic Lola on the back. It was double-sided, so she's kind of getting 2 door hangers for the price of one, and she made $70 off of it, you guys. That is such a huge win. And since then, Lisa's been getting ready for local markets. I saw her post where she was packing up her husband's car with all of her door hangers. She had some spring ones, a few fall ones, even art kits. See, you don't even have to sell finished product. You could sell art kits for kids or adults. And she said she was trying to make everything fit, and she's been dreaming about getting a bigger vehicle someday to make it easier. So selling all of these and working towards that, making a little extra money on the side. Maybe it's just a goal of making enough money to make that car payment every month. So whatever it is that you want to work toward, today we're mainly talking about making enough money to offset your membership costs. So if you are currently a Painters Clubhouse member and you're feeling a financial squeeze each month and you're like, but I love this new hobby, I don't want to give up this thing that is special to me, maybe it's time to sell a door hanger. Sell 1 door hanger a month and it could offset your cost. Mindy said, my son just purchased his first mortgage, a house, and I made a door hanger for him and his neighbors, and his neighbors are asking for them now. That is awesome. Yeah, I mean, gifting a door hanger to someone can often open the door to making sales. Hanging up a door hanger at your office or at work. That is a really great way to make sales because it's visually putting out there, passively, that you are doing this new hobby, and it opens the door for people to ask about it and say, hey, where can I get one of those? But I'm just so proud of Lisa. She's figuring it out as she goes. She's making it work with what she has. She's selling door hangers a little here and a little there, and it's been offsetting the cost of her membership and helping her out along the way. Another one of our members, Holly Stillwagon, is a brand new member to the Painters Clubhouse. And she wasn't even trying to sell at first, y'all. She posted a photo of her half finished. Pay attention there, half finished. It wasn't even done. Bandana Lola door hanger after night number 1 of painting. Because if you remember, for those of you who participated in our workshop, during the workshop, I was talking about you should try selling these. And she posted a picture before it was even completed, and somebody asked if they could buy it. Then that same person asked her if she could make a butterfly design and a few others. Next thing you know, she's also made this floral split round design, the ombre hope butterfly with her daughter's name on it. Holly was like, I didn't even plan on it, but I guess I'm selling door hangers now. And just like that, her membership was paid for in just 1 month. Isn't that fantastic? Round of applause for Holly, brand new member to the Painters Clubhouse, and she's already making sales of her door hangers. Now, I know this might not be on the radar of any of you. You might be thinking like, I just joined Painters Clubhouse to learn how to paint. This feels overwhelming. Holly joined just to learn how to paint too, and she didn't really even intend on selling. But I'm preparing you because it can naturally happen. And so if you're open to the idea of having a little side hustle, of making a little bit of extra money off of this fun new hobby, I've got some tips for you today. We're fixing to get into those. They're going to be low pressure ways of starting small and just dipping your toe in the water with all of this. Good morning, Amy. Hello, Cindy and Stacy. Thank you for saying hi. These 2 ladies, Lisa and Holly, they didn't have a plan. And most of us don't. They just shared what they were working on, and people showed up and said, hey, I want one of those. And that's how easy it can be to get started. Good morning, Diana. So I want to know in the comments, what is holding you back from selling your first door hanger? Could it be the pricing? Is it the perfectionism? Is it the fear of putting yourself out there? Drop a comment. Let me know. pricing, perfectionism, fear, or something else. You can just use you leave a one-word comment if that's helpful for you. If it's pricing, I want to advise you to go back and watch the Facebook Live or YouTube Live. I went live on both places about pricing your door hangers. I did one just a few weeks ago, so it shouldn't be very far back in the archives. And we talked about how to price your door hanger and based on the level of like detail and stuff like that. So that live will help you out there. If perfectionism is what's holding you back, I want you to go watch the live I did last Tuesday talking about the messy middle. Denise says it's perfectionism for her. If it's perfectionism, the messy middle could be getting you stuck because you're getting stuck worrying about one tiny little drop of paint that fell in a spot where you didn't want it to. Maybe you can relate to Lisa, who almost didn't post her door hanger because it had a tiny little flaw where the staple went in. And she's like, oh, nobody's going to want to buy this because it's got this flaw. Y'all, people don't notice stuff like that. We actually talked about this during last week's live. If you were paying attention, my husband was on there with me, and he shared about a project he had done in one of his college classes. It was machining class, and he brought home the project. It was a little ball peen hammer made out of metal, and he was showing it to me, and I was like, this thing is gorgeous. It was so pretty. It was shiny, and it had like a little gold top, and I was like looking at it, and he said, do you see the flaw? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What flaw? Because all I could see was the shiny, pretty, like how I was impressed that he had made it. And he like pointed out this teeny tiny little spot in the, what you call the knurling of the handle. And I was like, where? And he literally had to put his finger on the flaw for me to see it because I couldn't see it. I was just basking in the glow of this beautiful piece that he had made. And when he finally pointed it out, I did notice the tiniest of errors. But if he had not put his finger on it, I never would have seen it. And that's how it is with your door hangers. You're probably getting hung up on one tiny little outline or one tiny little highlight that you're not sure was put in the right spot. And that's stopping you from sharing your door hangers with others. And it's stopping you from making a sale. Marcy said, where I could post my door hangers? That's holding her up. I'm going to share about that in just a moment too. Sheila said, door hangers aren't big in Tulsa, but I have one customer who will buy anything with a snowman on it. I have sold her over $500 worth of door hangers, ornaments, and shelf sitters. Sheila, you just got to find your perfect person, right? So I'm proud of you for figuring that out. I will say, even though door hangers may not be big in Tulsa, add yet to the end of that sentence. Because you're starting there, right? And I know a lot of our friends up north may think door hangers aren't big where I am. But our friend Linda Helser in the Painters Clubhouse, she's from up north. She lives in the state of New York. And door hangers were not big around her area either yet. But she has been selling door hangers in her area, setting up at the local vendor booths and things like that. And bit by bit, she has been selling door hangers, and people are catching on in her area. And they are starting to learn that, oh, hey, I don't only have to use a wreath on my door. I could have something custom painted on my door. It's just a matter of shifting their perspective and making them realize that there's another alternative besides a wreath or or nothing at all. Some people don't hang anything on their door just because they don't realize that they can. Carol said, here's something crazy. I have a fear of succeeding. Fear of succeeding. Yes, it's true. How will I handle success? Carol, that is a real thing. I want to validate that for you. Sometimes we don't step out and do something because we're afraid of what happens if it works. I almost didn't start the Painters Clubhouse because I was afraid if it did catch on. I was pretty confident that it would catch on and I would have some success. I had no idea it would be as big as it is. Don't get me wrong. But I was afraid of what this would require of me once it did catch on. And maybe that's part of your fear is like, ooh, what if I do succeed? How am I going to handle that? Like, am I going to have to like keep up with orders? Will I have time for that? Letitia says, I think it's fear for me. I talk myself out of painting a door hanger. Why are you talking yourself out of it? Are you talking yourself out of it because you're afraid it won't turn out the way you hope it will? You love my top. This is from Cotton Chaos. I won it during their Whatnot sale. Christina said, yes, I'm worried about not having time if it works. you will carve out time. And what is so perfect about this type of business, if you want to call it that, it could just be a side hustle. Side hustle's way less pressure, right? It doesn't have to be a full business like you see me having. It could just be a side hustle. And the perfect thing about a side hustle is that it fits into the cracks and crevices of your life and works around your life. And so you are in control and you get to choose how much of your time it consumes. You can say no to orders if you're really overwhelmed right now, or you can up your prices to control the amount of orders that you're doing. If it's paint parties you're wanting to do, you can control that around your life. I let it control my life for a short period of time. And in 1 month, I had 12 parties. And at the end of that month, I said, I am not going to keep doing this to myself. And so I looked at my calendar and said, okay, when do I have free time? And when am I willing to show up and teach people to paint, and I had to set boundaries for myself. So you might have to do that for yourself and say, I am never going to do a party on a Sunday because church is important to me and rest is important to me. And so I'm not going to do that. And you might say, I am not going to do parties on a Friday night because that's my date night with my husband. So then that might leave Saturday. Are you open to doing paint parties on Saturdays or setting up at craft fairs on Saturdays or whatever it is you're doing to sell your door hangers? Carol said, yes, you nailed it. I'm so glad. Denise said, crazy question. Will the market get too full so people won't buy? I struggled with this too, Denise. I thought that, and it's laughable now. I thought there was only a certain number of people in the world that would want to learn how to paint door hangers from me. Now, granted, my customer is different from yours. Yours is the person who would be buying the finished product. My person is you who want to learn how to paint the product. But you know what? God is all powerful and he can make things grow and he can do things that we never dreamed of. And I thought that there was no way I would ever be able to grow beyond a certain point because I thought at some point everybody will have heard of me that is interested in painting door hangers, and that'll be the end of it. I will be just teaching to the same people that have found out about me. I just mentally could not process that it's infinite. The number of people who want to buy from you is infinite. Because every day there are new people who discover door hangers who've never heard of them before. There are new people who buy a house. I just got a neighbor, brand new neighbor right down the street. They just moved in this past Sunday. What did I do yesterday? I made them a pan of brownies and I took them a door hanger to hang on their door and welcome to the neighborhood. And they were thrilled to have a door hanger to hang on their door. I didn't sell it to them. I gifted it to them. But there are people in your neighborhood who are brand new to the neighborhood. There are people moving to your town who need something to hang on their door. There's never going to be a time when the market's too oversaturated. Also because you are unique and people want to buy from you because they like you, they know you, and they trust you. And they value your art. And there could be another booth selling door hangers right down the street from you. And they might buy from you because they like your style better than her style, or they like your door hangers that you painted because maybe yours speak to them more. That's the cool thing about art is different styles speak to different people. Do you think the clothing market is oversaturated? Do you think there's too many companies out there making styles of clothing? Are we all only buying from one company? No. We are buying from multiple companies because we love the different styles of clothes that they sell. And there are certain brands that speak to me. I love shopping at Maurice's. I am a millennial mom, and for some reason, every piece of clothing nearly in Maurice's is like my style. And so I come out of there with bags full. But I could walk into Nordstrom or some fancy store and walk out with nothing. Dillard's, for example. I could walk into Dillard's and I'm like, nothing in here is speaking to me. Or the prices are out of my range and I'm like, this stuff ain't for me. Okay. So don't let that hold you back. Terry says, I worry my things aren't good enough to sell. Lisa thought about that too. We just shared Lisa's story. So if you missed it, watch the replay and catch Lisa's story that we just shared. So let's get into some things that are low pressure ways that you could sell, because you don't need a full-blown business or website to sell a door hanger. You can just start super small. That's how I started. Instead of posting a door hanger, instead of posting this door hanger and saying, for sale, $35, Is that a very like approachable post? Is that going to get people to comment and ask about it? Maybe. Is it super salesy? Yes. Instead, say, I'm thinking about selling these. Would anybody be interested? Or if that still feels too salesy to you, say, check out this fun new hobby that I just started. It's not perfect, but I'm having so much fun. That's not even selling anything, is it? But it's raising awareness. And it's going to generate comments. People are going to say, oh, that is so cute. I love how you did the flowers, or I love how you painted the stars. And you might get one person that says, oh, you should think about selling these. Or somebody saying, ooh, I would love to have one. Does that sound like somebody who wants to buy? They might be saying, will you sell me one? But they might say, I would love to have one of those. Then you can reply in the comments and say, hey, shoot me a DM if you'd be interested. I'm thinking about selling these. That's when you could reply with that. I'm thinking about selling these if you don't like to be so forward about your intentions. And then you have the pricing comment or pricing conversation over in the DMs. Don't have the pricing conversation in the comments. Do not do that. Because if you have the pricing conversation in the comments, that may turn away potential buyers who are thinking about buying one, but they just need to have a conversation with you first. It also might deadlock you into selling that door hanger for that first price that you threw out. It doesn't give you the flexibility of increasing your price if you suddenly have 10 orders. Okay. Sheila said, I use door hangers as gifts. I decided that one way to show door hangers was to get them out to be seen. Yes. So right, Sheila. She said, I do wedding gifts that are personalized with a new name. And I have done shelf sitters for baby showers. I give ornaments at Christmas. Yes, you are establishing yourself, Sheila, as the lady who paints things. The lady in your town who is always painting things. And so if you're gifting those at baby showers and weddings and coworkers who are retiring and whatever occasion in people's lives, there's a door hanger for that occasion. So start gifting door hangers if you're having trouble getting the word out that you paint. And inevitably, somebody who sees that door hanger will ask, hey, where did you get that? Oh, my coworker Sheila, or my friend Sheila at church. She's the one who painted it. You should ask her. She could probably paint you one. Next thing you know, you've got a sale off of that referral. So start small. You could start just like Holly did, share a post and just see what happens. Some beginner-friendly options for places to sell. If you're taking notes, write these down. Facebook Marketplace. That's the super easy, approachable, free place to advertise what you sell. Buy local sell groups. How many of you guys have these? Everybody has these. My town has like 6 of these, and we're a small town. I'm like, how can one town with a population of less than 30,000 people have like 5 or 6 buy and sell groups? It might say like for sale in Murray, Kentucky, or something like that. We all have these groups on our Facebook. Third place, church or school craft fairs. So look for craft fairs and things in your area, places you can go and they'll let you set up a table and post a few things for sale. Your setup doesn't have to be super fancy. Set up however you can until you establish yourself and can like make your setup a little nicer. Mine was so janky, y'all. When I set up at the local farmer's market, I had a tent, I had a table, and I had some S-hooks. And I used those S-hooks to hook around the jute string and hang it up around the perimeter of my tent. And I think I had one standing display, and it was made of an old screen door that I bought at a yard sale. I stapled some chicken wire to the back of it, and I hung them with S-hooks on the chicken wire. It was the most janky setup, but it worked. It worked. So we've got Facebook Marketplace, buy, sell local groups on Facebook, school and church craft fairs. We've also got vendor malls or pop-ups. So vendor malls would be a more established setup where you would have to pay like a monthly fee to have a booth there. I don't recommend that starting out. I recommend that after you've really started, like maybe you've got door hangers piled up for days. I mean, you could start there. If you have door hangers piled up for days and nowhere to put them, why not hang them up in a booth? But that is going to have a little bit of a startup cost to it, right? Because you're going to have to decorate the booth and make it look a little nicer so that people want to come in and browse, and you're going to have to pay a monthly fee. And it could take a little while before you start to really make your money back. Another option is having paint parties with friends. And you may not look at paint parties as a way to sell door hangers, but it's the easiest way to sell door hangers. Let me say that, because you're not having to paint all of them. And you're just charging a class fee, and they're coming and learning how to paint those with you and taking them home. And so you could sell 25 door hangers in one night just at having a paint party. I stopped doing vendor booths and craft fair setups because I had a hard time finding good craft shows in my area to sell at, and they were always on a Saturday. And my paint party side of my business was more established, and I was able to have a great paint party on a Saturday afternoon, and I was guaranteed to make X amount of dollars because I knew based on how many people were signed up that I could make that money. Whereas a craft fair feels like a gamble. I may pay a booth fee, and who knows, I could make $500 or I could make $50. I don't know. But if I have a paint party, I knew I could make $500 because I've got X number of people showing up. Mindy said, I just saw a space where your items will be seen. It's called For Craft Fairs, etc. Interesting. And then Bonnie says, I've had a hard time at shows selling my signs. Then I added door hangers, and it's been wonderful. I'm so happy for you, Bonnie. That's exciting. Thank you, Lisa. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Share your wins in the comments. If you had a win like this, share it with us. We want to hear about it. Wendy said, I love paint parties. I personally have not done any myself, and I have been to tons, and they've always been so much fun. The thing that holds people back, and we can do a whole Facebook Live on this in the future if you would like, around paint parties. The thing that holds people back from starting paint parties is fear that they're not good enough at painting to teach. So I'm going to address that real quick. I started teaching paint parties before I was very good at painting. And the number one thing you need to do is pick 4 to 5 door hanger designs that if you feel really confident about teaching. Maybe there's only like 5 paint colors involved. They're super simple. You know without a doubt that you know what steps to tell them to complete that door hanger. And maybe you followed me to paint one of those door hangers. Maybe it was that welcome floral split round. Let me put it back up here on the screen, like this one with the white flowers that says welcome. That one's super easy to paint. Anybody could teach that at a paint party. You just have, because what you're doing at a paint party is you're not so much teaching as you are providing the experience. You are providing all the supplies, and you're providing the opportunity for them to come together with their friends, turn on some music, make it fun. And yes, it's fun art, not fine art. Exactly, Marie. Provide the experience. And then the teaching part that you're probably going to have to provide is, hey, I'm not sure what to do next, but if you've already painted that door hanger before, you know what they need to do next. Or I'm not sure what paint color to use for this, but if you've already painted that door hanger, you can tell them what color you would use. And sometimes it's just a matter of giving them like 2 options. Be like, I think this purple or this pink might look nice. And they're going to pick between those 2, and you've made it easy for them. So don't be afraid to start. Don't be afraid to be the teacher, because it's way simpler than you think. Bonnie said, oh, I sold 5 of them within 2 farmers markets. Wonderful. Ava said, I'm scared no one will come. You don't have to be afraid of that, because you're going to get people to sign up in advance. And we can talk about that more when we talk about paint parties in a separate live. I'll try to put that on my calendar to do a Facebook Live talking about paint parties in a separate live, because I could go on for days about that topic. But you're going to get them to sign up in advance. So there's no reason to fear that they won't come. You're going to get them to sign up. Okay, so paint parties was an option. Another one is like art kits. So that is another option where you don't have to paint the thing. You just provide them with the design. It can be laser etched, or it can be hand cut. And you could have the design like already sketched out using the template and graphite paper for them. And then you just provide them with like you can provide them with the paints, or you can provide them with the color suggestions, however you want to set up your art kits. But that would be a low stress way to get started selling your artwork. Now, pricing is an issue for a lot of people. I saw somebody comment about that. We have done a whole separate Facebook Live about pricing your door hangers. So I want to recommend that you go back and watch that, but I wanted to touch on it here. This is somewhere where many women get stuck. And I totally get it. It can feel really weird putting a dollar amount on something that was made by hand. And I still struggle with that. I do. But remember, just because it's handmade doesn't mean it's worthless. In fact, that's what makes it valuable. In a world where AI and technology and machinery can make practically anything these days, the value that's put on human-made things is going to increase. The value put on things that are made by hand, made by humans, is going to increase because it's going to be more rare in the future. It's already more rare. I can walk in Walmart right now and buy a door hanger. But if I'm the kind of person who values art and values something handmade, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go and buy from you. Lisa didn't think that her door hanger was good enough because of that staple problem. But y'all, it sold for $70. Holly had one that wasn't even finished, and somebody still wanted it. Most of the time, we're the ones who want to see those imperfections in our artwork. And the people who are wanting to buy them, they don't notice those things. People love supporting people who make things handmade, and they love your story. So perhaps, I wonder who it was. I don't know who it was that bought Holly's door hanger or Lisa's door hanger, but it was probably somebody who knows Lisa or Holly, and they probably love Lisa or Holly already, and they want to support them. So don't let that hold you back just because you think it has to be perfect. So let's talk about different ways to, let's talk about how members are earning a little extra money without starting a full-blown business. So we talked about different ways like places, marketplace, vendor booths, paint parties, those kind of things. We talked about places you could sell, but now let's talk about things you could sell or ways you could sell. Finished pieces, like the door hanger hanging behind me, that would be considered a finished piece. You could offer seasonal or themed paint kits. So fall is coming up, right? You could, coming up, it's not that early, but for crafters, Hobby Lobby's already got their fall stuff out. So it's in the back of my brain that fall's not far away. So you could offer pumpkin-shaped door hangers that people could paint instead of carving a pumpkin this year. How would you like to have a pumpkin painting party in your home? Buy these kits from me. And that would not involve you going to their house and teaching how to paint. That would just involve you providing the wood blanks and the paint colors and all of that. Another option would be hosting a paint party for friends, family, neighbors, church ladies. So you could have everybody into your church fellowship hall and teach them how to paint a bunch of pumpkins this fall. Another option would be collaborating with a wreath maker. Have you thought of that? Who was it in the comments a minute ago? It said they can't make bows. Was it Anne? Wreath makers are the best bow makers. They really are. But maybe they are looking for wood signs to go on their wreaths, and you could paint wood signs for them to attach to their wreaths that they're planning on selling at their local craft fair. You could take orders like, oh, hey, I'll paint you 10 pumpkins that you can glue, or not glue, you can wire onto your wreaths and sell. You could also sell to local gift boutiques. We have a couple places like this in our hometown, and they sell door hangers in their boutiques. And I used to sell my door hangers to the boutique, and the boutique would then sell them to the customer. And it doesn't necessarily have to work that way. It could work on commission, where they don't pay you for the door hanger. They pay you if the door hanger sells. That's a different way. And of course, you could also set up at local vendor booths or craft fairs. Marie said, that's a great idea. I've sold a few 10-inch attachments to a local wreath maker. Yeah, sometimes other crafters will buy your painted pieces because they do craft, but they don't paint. So just try one of these ideas and see what feels fun to you. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be something that fits for you. If you could just try one of these ways to make a little extra money from painting, which one would you try? Type in the comments. It can be a one-word answer. Kit, party, sell, like sell finished pieces. Craft fair. You could write craft fair in the comments. What's your, what feels most approachable to you? Over in the comments, somebody said, I always think people won't pay what I want. If they don't, then they're not your customer. And you're allowed to charge what you want to charge. And if they walk on by it, that's fine. Just know they're not your ideal customer. Somebody said, how do I order from DecoArt? You can just go right to the DecoArt website and order. Wendy says kit feels most approachable. Judy says selling on Marketplace. Jackie says party. That's my girl, Jackie. I love parties. Candy says kits. Ryan says sell. Marie says party. Marie's got a studio where she teaches parties. She's one of our clubhouse members. Carol says party. Christina loves the idea of selling attachments to wreath makers. Vicky likes marketplace. Bonnie wants to start doing kits. I love this. Kids paint parties are really great ways to sell kits. Think of the mom who wants to have a birthday party for her daughter, and her daughter is artistic, and she wants to let all the kids get together and paint something. Do the kids need a teacher? Probably not. Kids don't like to follow instructions. But the kids love it if you just put the stuff out there and let them freely do what they want. So you could provide a bunch of unicorn cutout door hangers and paint colors. You could just go buy the paints, the brushes, and the unicorns and provide that to the mom. Or maybe just provide the wood pieces to the mom. And the mom would just set it all out and let the kids have a blast. And clean up after. Yes, this is great advice. Marie says, don't set your prices based on someone else's budget. A coach doesn't set their price based on who can afford their coach. I thought you meant like a baseball coach doesn't set their price based on somebody else's budget, but you mean coach bags. You're exactly right. But that also applies if you're like a baseball coach. I'm going to charge, like if I'm a baseball coach, I'm going to charge a certain amount for you to come and take private lessons with me because I know the value that I bring to the table. Right? I'm loving this comment section, by the way. You guys, I may not be able to get to all these comments, but you guys are rocking it over there. Janet was talking about how her husband and her are going to be enclosing the carport for a place to have paint parties. I love that. Wendy says schools are getting out moms who want something for their littles to do in the summer. A great kit idea. Yes. Christina loves the idea of a DIY paint party kit. Yes, start marinating on these ideas and figure out which one you're going to try next. And if you try it once and it doesn't work out, don't give up because the first time you post about something, it may not land. You may have to post about something 15 times before somebody's like, hey, I want to do that. I'm interested in that. You know how I know that? Because I've been in online business for 10 years now. And people have to hear about something from you multiple times before they sign up. How many of you have heard me talk about painting door hangers for days and months before you finally decided to join the Painters Clubhouse? If I had only ever mentioned it once, so many of you would not be here. Okay? So don't give up if it didn't work the first time you posted about it. Post again and again and again, and eventually you will be the person in your town who people go to for paint parties, DIY kits, for buying a painted door hanger. You will establish yourself. I never felt more proud than the moment I was in Walmart in the checkout line, and there was a lady with her buggy behind me who said, hey, aren't you that paint party lady? I was like, yes, I am. That's me. And because at that point, I knew I had made it in my town. They recognized me. They knew my voice, my face. They knew that I was the lady who taught painting. And I was like, yes, I've set a reputation for myself in this town. And so that could be you. You could become the paint party lady in your town. Okay, let's wrap it up. You don't have to be perfect or ready or even confident to start. You just have to be willing. So for all of you who are feeling a little hesitant, a little imposter syndrome, like who am I to be selling door hangers? Who am I to be teaching paint parties? If you have this little desire in yourself, God planted that seed in you, that willingness, that desire. So all you have to do is show up and do, and God will provide the increase. One door hanger, one post, one yes. That's all it takes. You never know what could happen with that first step. So if you're sitting there thinking, I would love to try this, but I don't know what to paint, I've got something for you. I want you to drop the word library in the comments, the word library. And I'm going to send you the link to our free template library. Right now, there are 3 designs in there that you can go and download right away to trace on wood, cut out, make your art kits. One of them is the shape of the United States. So it's not this particular design, but it's just the shape of the United States. You could cut that one out. One of them is similar to this in style. It has HOME and it spells home, but the O is a cotton ball. So you can go and download that right now. And each one of those 3 designs in the library have a supply list. So you're not going to have to figure out your colors. And they have a link to the video where I painted the design. So you can follow the video and then you can go and teach it at a paint party. They're all three super simple. You could teach all of these at a paint party. You could sell all of these at your next craft fair. So go download the free template, trace it on wood, cut it out, or trace it on a wood blank from Hobby Lobby, follow the painting tutorial, and then post your picture and see what happens. And please come back and report to me. Send me a DM or an email and report back to me and let me know how it goes. Wendy, this is not in the Painters Clubhouse. It's just something free on my website. So if you comment library, you can go over there to the website and grab it right now. And we do change the designs out in this free library every quarter. So as fall approaches, probably sometime around July, late July, August, we'll switch them out for fall designs. So right now is the only time you can grab these designs. It includes, like I said, it includes the template, the supply list, and the video tutorials. And these are perfect to paint and sell this time of year right now. You're welcome. If you got something valuable out of today, I would love it if you would drop a comment and let me know what you learned today that you're going to go take and use in the future and start a little painting hobby that could paint for itself. And once you start establishing yourself and in your community, you could start paying for your Painters Clubhouse membership with one door hanger a month. Y'all have a fantastic day. Thank you for letting me go live a little early with you all today. Like I said, I'm headed off to Charlie's awards ceremony at school, so I've got to run. But I won't be live today at 12 noon like normal. This was your drop of goodness for today. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Bye.